We are here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Monday, September 30th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and you're watching News Generation. Today, we're joined by Choi-ji.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, and Park Gun-woo.
Great to be here.
Welcome back. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. Now, like always, we're going to start with our news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items trending online. The Seoul City Government and the Seoul Tourism Association have designated October 1st to October 8th as Seoul Welcome Week 2024. During this period, a welcoming center will be set up at Exit 6 of Myeongdong Station on Line 4, where visitors can experience traditional Korean games, participate in crafts, receive travel consultations, and even enjoy complimentary gifts and beverages. The initiative is part of the city's efforts to encourage travelers to return to Seoul by creating unique and memorable experiences. Moving on, getting food at highway rest areas often feels like a key part of the trip itself when traveling across Korea. The Korea Expressway Corporation recently held its first ever Rest Area Food Festa, where rest areas from across the country showcase their signature dishes. The event featured a range of unique offerings, including water parsley short rib soup, cockle bibimbap, rice with acorn jelly, and cold udon noodles paired with fried chicken. With this whole International Fireworks Festival happening this Saturday, secondhand shopping platforms are buzzing with people searching for the best spots to watch the spectacular display of fireworks. Prices for a single night at a hotel suite near Yeouido have skyrocketed to nearly 2.6 million Korean won, which is almost $2,000. As an alternative, many are turning to more affordable options like renting homes. One user on a secondhand platform offered 300,000 won, approximately $228 to rent a house for just a few hours to ensure his family would have an unobstructed view of the fireworks. Another person posted about reserving a spot at Yeouido Hangang Park, where the festival takes place, from as early as in the morning. So I want to ask our panelists, have you ever been to this whole fireworks festival? If you have, where did you watch it? And what do you think about all the scramble?
Well, I haven't been to this fireworks festival yet, but I always wanted to visit it there. Every time I see it on social media, I just scrap it and save it every time. But honestly, I wasn't like, I think I'm kind of afraid of, squeezing in the massive crowd. Yes, and especially after the event is over, all of the people, imagining just all of the people going to the subway station, and I thought I would panic if I was in that situation. But anyways, apart from that, thinking about this scramble, paying thousands of dollars for just a few hours, it's kind of like a what said is the price situation. So I think it's kind of, I don't know if it's right to ask for that amount of money. And especially because every people can have different values. So I think that's what matters most. So if you think it's reasonable enough, I think why not? Yeah.
Right. As long as you are willing to pay that amount of money to watch the fireworks, I mean, why not? And Kono, maybe you'll get to see the fireworks festival this year by covering the story.
Okay, maybe. Okay.
Right. So, Ji, what about you? Have you also watched this festival before?
No, I haven't gone there in person, but I know that you did last year.
I did indeed.
From what I remember. But I heard from the people who've been there that it gets really crowded.
I know, right.
And sometimes your phone signal won't even work. But instead of just going to that park, I mean, like you said, all the accommodations around this area is already very expensive and almost all reserved by now. But I would recommend going to just maybe driving past the Hangang Bridge or the Mapo Bridge, or going to the Seoul Tower, climbing up the Seoul Tower. Not climbing up, but taking the people or walking, whatever, and watching it there. Somewhere a little bit distant from that actual area would be a, I guess, good way. And if you miss the chance this time in Seoul, there's also a Busan Fireworks Festival coming up in November. So you might want to try watching that as well.
Right. So you still have the Busan Fireworks Festival, and I personally watched the Seoul International Fire Festival last year near Nodersum, which is quite far from the actual Yeouido Hangang Park, but still the view was amazing. I could enjoy all the fireworks, so don't be disappointed. You have a lot of options to enjoy the fireworks. Now, meanwhile, the festival takes place on October 5th at 7 p.m. with an opening ceremony at the Yeouido Hangang Park. As mentioned before, teams from Japan, the United States, and South Korea will be performing in that order. And that was our news feed for this Monday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion of the day. Take a look at the screen to find out more.
A few weeks ago, we discussed how companies in Korea have begun their recruitment for the second half of the year. Today, we'll focus on what young workers, particularly those who have just landed new jobs, are experiencing.
Right, so as many of the new job applicants are in their 20s and 30s, our generation, I've heard that a lot of companies these days are actually tailoring their recruitment strategies specifically to appeal to the younger generation.
That's right. So with most job seekers being millennials or Gen Zs, like you said, companies are tailoring their recruitment strategies to attract this younger group of applicants. So for instance, they're creating unique online advertisements and hosting recruitment fairs that offer even opportunities to interact with current employees to listen to their stories. And recently, Kia received a lot of positive feedback from the applicants for organizing an engaging career camp where applicants completed quests through teamwork, simulating a large mission. So it's kind of like one of those entertainment programs like Running Man, where you have to accomplish missions.
Right.
And they also held a career talk session focusing on transitioning from the traditional male-centered organizational culture to a more inclusive approach, including special career talk sessions led by female leaders, telling their stories about the challenges that they had to go through as females to climb up the social ladder in an organization.
That's quite a big change from the traditional recruitment process that we're accustomed to here in Korea, because in the past it was mostly just submitting your resume and then waiting for the results, and if you get in, you'll take a written test, and after that you'll go to the interview, and then you'll get to know whether you'll get the job or not. So this is definitely a very interesting change that we're seeing in the Korean job market. Now, once these job applicants actually get into the company, there is also the training aspect for new employees, because many companies here in Korea offer orientation like training programs where they can participate in lectures and group activities, much like a school camp. So Konu, I heard that companies are also now kind of changing or shifting their training camps to cater to the demands of the younger generation.
Yes, they are. And I can see for sure many things are changing, especially in terms of the training program. It's becoming more fun and intriguing to these young employees. Compared to the past, when usually it was those boring lectures in those auditoriums within the company, usually indoors. But these days, it's actually taking place in the outdoors with much more fun activities, doing several missions with your colleagues. And I was also able to spot one of the orientation-like training happening in the city Gyeongju, southeastern part of South Korea. One of the biggest conglomerates of Korea was actually taking doing their training exercises at the site. So employees were able to, do those missions as you can see on the screen. They can just chat with each other, socialize with each other.
Seems really fun.
It looked very fun. I actually envied them because I wish I had the chance to, do the same training as well. They also, as you just looked in the screen, they also took pictures at the photo booth together and doing traditional games together. So much fun. And also after that, they received coupons so that they can, use at the restaurants, fancy cafes near the hotspots.
That's quite a lot of change we're seeing in terms of training for newbie employees as well. Now, what we've just saw, like the training camp that Konu just mentioned, which he covered, seems really fun. But as both Ji-hee and Konu will agree, and I think that many of our viewers who are working at offices will agree, there are indeed a lot of challenges at work. So I want to ask you, Ji-hee, what are some of the most common struggles that young employees face once they actually get a job?
Well, like the video that Konu just showed, it's just that moment where it seems like employees enjoy their work.
Like every part of it, right?
Yeah.
That's so sad.
For many reasons, many different reasons, young employees decide to leave work very soon because they get stressed over different reasons, such as work-life balance, a lack of it, and rigid office culture, as well as low pay and so on. And if we take a look at the screen together, we can find out the different moments moments young employees get especially stressed out at work. So the primary cause of stress for many individuals at work is their lack of clarity regarding the tasks they need to accomplish. So if you don't know what you're doing, then that can get you really stressed.
Right, it feels like I'm lost.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And unclear objectives and purposes can definitely lead you to stress. And also stress can arise when individuals feel that their superiors are overly involved in their work. Imagine your superior is like telling you what to write, what to focus on, for example, for you two. Or when you lack the support that you need from colleagues or seniors. These were some of the reasons that our younger generation were stressed at work.
I can kind of relate to the reasons because they can indeed become major stress factors, especially when you have not a lot of experience when you're at your early stages of working at a company as a new employee. Now, Kono, I want to ask you that how much do these stress factors actually influence young workers even leading them to quit their jobs? How severe is the situation?
Yeah, so along with the specific reasons why they are struggling at work, I would like to share some data that's actually revealed by Statistics Korea. So if you take a look at the screen in a moment, yes, according to the data released in May, over 66% of the working MZers aged under 30 actually quit their first jobs. And it turned out that those that quit their jobs they worked for only about 14 months. That's only about a year and so. And other statistics also show that 8 out of 10 MZers try to quit or want to move their workplaces as well. So all of these data shows that MZers quickly and easily try to move their workplaces compared to the older generation.
Right, and we talked about some of the reasons, which is pushing these younger employees to actually quit their job much earlier than they'd expected. For example, lack of clarity in what they have to do, also work-life balance. But what's also really important, I once again think you guys will agree a lot, is interpersonal issues or problems that we face at the workplace.
Right. So they say even if the work is difficult, you can withstand it. But if the people you're working with stress you out,
it makes
then
it unbearable.
Exactly. And generational conflict, in fact, is also a growing concern in the workplace. According to a survey by the Korea Chamber of Commerce and Industry, 64% of workers feel a generational gap at work. And the older generation, as we know, is accustomed to a corporate culture that emphasizes vertical hierarchy and prioritizes organizational growth over personal growth. And on the other hand, the younger generation values communication, horizontal organizational culture, and work-life balance. So these differing values lead to conflicts, making it essential for both groups to make efforts to understand each other and understand what they need in a workplace and trying to fill that for the groups.
Right. So interpersonal issues also seem to severely affect young employees' decision to leave a job or not. Now, it's going beyond interpersonal issues. I even heard that company-to-employee conflicts are some of what the younger generation workers are actually facing a lot, right?
Yes, exactly. So the company-to-employee conflicts are actually happening within the company these days. And especially, I think that's because many companies in Korea have grown thanks to its strong labor force, especially in the past during the 1970s, 80s, 90s, and so on. But that's not the situation for these MZers these days, because they try to, pursue work-life balance. Companies are thinking of the past where they used to work overtime even during the weekends. Saturdays used to be a working day as well in Korea some years ago. So, but I think that's why these conflicts are happening between those that think differently. So I think, that's one of the remaining conflicts between the company and the younger employees.
And until now, we've talked about a lot of conflicts and problems that young employees often face at workplaces, especially here in Korea. Now, there's a reason why we heavily focused on problems. That's because as part of the News Fan, we love to give out solutions, right? So as we discussed a few weeks ago, losing well-trained employees can be a huge loss for companies, especially when these workers have the potential to contribute to greatly. Now, for our solution part, Konu, I heard that during your business trip, you recently interviewed several young employees and actually asked them what will make them stay at a job longer. So could you please tell us more about that?
Of course. So I had a chance to meet these many random young people under the age of 30 working for different companies out on the streets. And it was a great chance to listen to what their demands are, what they need and want from the company in order for them to stay longer at the same company. And I also interviewed one of the managers of the people development team of Hyundai Motor Company. So that was a chance for me to listen to the company's side, the company's effort to how they are trying to grab these younger generation employees from leaving their workplace. So please take a look at what they said.
회사를 들어왔을 때 단순히 딱딱하고 뭔가 강압적인 분위기보다는 내가 회사에 나와서 사람들이랑 잘 어울릴 수 있고 놀 수 있고 이런 활동들을 통해서 성취감을 느낄 수 있다고 하면 그런 것들이 줄어들지 않을까 싶습니다.
저는 복지가 더 좋으면 안 나가지 않을까요? 집 제공.
항상 일은 힘들다고 생각은 하지만 때로 긍정적으로 생각하면 그래도 버틸만 하다고 생각을 해서 뭐 소소하게 진짜 직장 사람들이랑 친해져서 나와가지고 같이 여행도 가고 네, 서로 스트레스 받는 거랑 공유도 하고 이러는 게 제일 좋은 것 같아요.
복지 그냥 밥 잘 나오고 그냥 뭐 한 번씩 휴가 지원비 같은 소소한 금액들 잘 챙겨주시면 오래 다닐 수 있지 않을까 싶습니다.
연구원들에게는 뭐 해외에서 주재원 기회를 제공해주기도 하고요. 그뿐만 아니라 어떤 뭐 교육의 기회도 많이 제공해주고 있고, 그리고 커리어를 발전시킬 수 있는 그런 뭐 해외 연수 이런 기회도 많이 열려 있습니다.
설이나 추석에 뭐 떡값이라든지 뭐 금전적인 부분에 있어서 좀 크지 않을까 싶어요. 제 생각에.
노동 시간에 맞는 휴게 시간이 무조건 있어야 된다고 생각이 들어요.
요즘 MZ 세대 같은 경우에는 뭐 돈도 중요하지만 회사의 조직 문화나 어떤 분위기 같은 것도 되게 중요한 회사를 선택하는 중요한 요소라고 생각을 합니다. 이제 그런 관점에서 저희도 뭐 신입사원 교육을 할 때 좀 외부 장소를 좀 다양하게 활용하면서 좀 더 이제 좋은 회사라는 인식을 주기 위해서 노력하고 있고, 실제로 이런 것들이 신입사원들로 하여금 초기 회사에 대한 인식에 좀 더 부드러운 이제 회사라는 인식을 주는 것 같아서 좀 도움이 되고 있다고, 퇴사율 방지에 도움이 되고 있다고 생각을 합니다.
You indeed interviewed a lot of people, Konu,
did.
including newbie employees to even the manager of one of the biggest companies here in Korea, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I can resonate with many.
Right, because they are all part of our generation. So I think that there were definitely a lot of opinions worth taking account into. Now, ending off our discussion today, I want to ask you guys, what direction should both young employees and also employers, which are the companies, take to help foster a more positive work environment and encourage workers to stay at the company for longer? That is, those who really want to stay at the company.
Right. Well, you know, like personally, I'm a freelancer, so I can resonate with what they were saying, but if I were to imagine what would be a good welfare kind of options or a good working environment for me, I would say a place where the needs of different groups of people within the workplace are listened to, like are heard by the company. And both companies and young employees should focus on creating a culture of mutual understanding and some flexibility as well. And I think it's important to also focus on a common goal that could unite all employees regardless of their generational background. And a shared mission can really help bridge the gap between these generations and foster a positive work environment. And of course, it should be a two-sided effort. So young employees should strive to appreciate the experience and knowledge of older colleagues, not just saying that they're always 꼰대, although they can be 꼰대s, like trying to teach the younger people all the
like
time.
I did it that way.
Yeah, exactly, because everyone's different. They shouldn't be like that, doing that. But at the same time, they should also appreciate the knowledge and experience they have. And also companies and seniors in turn should provide opportunities for personal growth and structured mentoring for the younger generation as well. So like I said in the beginning, listening to the needs of everyone should always come first.
Right, so mutual communication based on mutual respect.
Yeah.
Now, what is your advice, Konu?
Well, I totally agree with what Ji just said, so I just want to add on to it. So I really think that creating a good communication space environment is super important. It might be one of the most basic things, but it's actually one of the most important things at the same time. So in order to do that, referring to some of my friends' experiences, they said that their supervisors gather these young employees all at once, every once a month or so, and then they have these seminars together, meetings together, so that they can, communicate with each other and know what the both sides' requests or needs are. So, my friends also said that it actually helped because what they required to the company actually was reflected in the culture, in the company's culture and the company's rules and everything like that. So I think that's really important in this kind of situation. And as Ji mentioned, it's a both-sided way communication. So I think the younger generation should also listen to what the older generation and the company says as well, because they have a lot of know-hows and knowledge to teach, and we are at the stage of learning as well. So that's also important. So one solution I would suggest is to, spend some time together, especially by utilizing the office hours instead of the dinner time or after work.
So maybe grabbing lunch together, like once a week or once a month, could be a great solution.
Exactly. That's why many companies are actually doing that instead of doing dinner together. That's kind of a change we can spot easily these days. So yeah, but also as you saw through the interviews, spending time with your colleagues together is also important to, adjust to the working environment more easily and creating a more positive working environment. So that could be one of my solutions that I can give as news generation.
Very well noted. So it seems that based on the advice both of you have given, communication seems to be the key. So I hope our discussion today helps newbie workers get used to their jobs easier. And that's all from us today, but NewsGen will be back on Wednesday at 9:30 in Korea time. We're taking a day off as tomorrow, October 1st, is Armed Forces Day here in Korea, which has been designated as a temporary holiday this year. Special thanks today to Choi-Ji.
Thank you.
And Park Konu.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching, and see you on Wednesday. We are News Generation.